Okay, the book of Joshua tells the story of Israelites' entry into the promised land under the leadership of Joshua, Moses' successor. So, in this book, we see a lot of miracles, of course, but battles, many battles, and how they captured the promised land and how they have settled in the promised land. Okay, we start from chapter 1. Basically, 1 to 4 talks about crossing the Jordan. So Joshua starts his leadership journey, and God tells him to be courageous and promises that he will be with him, just like he was with Moses. Joshua is ready to lead the Israelites into the promised land. First, he sends two spies into Jericho, where they meet Rahab. She hides them and helps them escape, asking for protection when the city falls. The Israelites then face the Jordan River at the flood stage. But when the priests step in with the Ark of Covenant, the waters stop flowing, letting them cross on dry land. So Joshua sets up 12 stones from the riverbed as a memorial. Rahab becomes mother, grandmother, we do not know, but she becomes the next to, I mean, mother to Boaz, husband of Ruth. So, chapter 5 to 6 talks about Jericho's fall. Once across, the Israelites renew their covenant with God by circumcising all the men who hadn't been circumcised during the desert years. After celebrating Passover, they are ready for their first battle. God gives Joshua unique instructions to march around Jericho daily for 6 days and 7 times on the seventh day. So then shout. So the wall collapse. They take the city. Rahab and her family are spared for helping the spies. So in this chapter, you see the seven things, all seven priests, seven trumpets, seven days, 7 times. Okay. And now, as we move on, sin of Achan in the seventh chapter, things really get tense. At the next city, AI, the Israelites face a surprise defeat. Joshua is devastated. 36 people were killed, but God reveals the reason. Someone took items from Jericho that were supposed to be destroyed. Turns out Achan is the culprit. So then what happens? After he confesses, he and his family face severe punishment, and Israel can now move forward. Now, victory at Ai in chapter 8. With Achan's sin addressed, Joshua leads a second attempt against Ai. This time they are successful using an ambush strategy as directed by God. After the victory, Joshua builds an altar and renews the covenant by reading the law to the people, ensuring everyone, including women and children, hearing God's words. Okay. And now Gibeonite deception we is seen in ninth chapter. The Gibeonites, neighbors in Canaan, they hear of Israelites' victories and craft a plan to make a peace treaty with Israel by pretending they are from a distant land. They dress in worn out clothes and carry moldy bread to look convincing. So Joshua makes a treaty without consulting God and later discovers the truth. Even though they are deceived, Joshua honors the agreement and the Gibeonites become Israel's servants. And now, as we move on, these Gibeonites, um, you know, they are in peace with Israelites. So other Canaanite kings feel threatened because of this treaty. So what they do, they join forces to attack Gibeon. So Gibeon is a powerful city. Just because they came and asked like that, we cannot discount them. But it's a powerful uh, fortified city. So Joshua defends Gibeon in a dramatic battle. As battle rages, Joshua prays for the sun to stand still, and God grants it, giving them extended daylight to secure victory. They defeat the coalition of kings, showing God's power over both time and nature. The people who were dead because of the boulders, big boulders from the heaven, those who died through them were more than what Israelites actually killed in the war. But Joshua prevails. By the end of 12th chapter, there's a list of all 31 defeated kings, emphasizing God's faithfulness in delivering the land he promised to the people of Israel. And as we move on, 13 to 19, these chapters uh, about dividing the land. Major battles over. Now God tells Joshua, he's getting older. Joshua is getting older. It's time to assign the land to the tribes. So each tribe receives its portion. Though some areas are still occupied by Canaanites, remember this, Canaanites are not driven out. Caleb, one of the faithful spies from Moses' time, he requests and receives Hebron as his inheritance. There's a lot of detail on boundaries and cities for each tribe. A significant moment for the Israelites as they finally start settling in the land. For people like us, it may not be significant what are the borders and which kings or which tribe people lived there before. But as these tribes of Israel are settling down in those areas, they need to know, and there is a strategy of how they occupy the land also. Now we move on 20 to 21. These two chapters dedicating to build the cities of refuge and Levitical cities. Joshua establishes these cities of refuge, places where people who accidentally, as we read in the previous books, when people accidentally kill someone, they could flee for safety and a fair trial. Then the Levites, the priestly tribe, are assigned cities within each tribe's land since they won't inherit their own territory. So this helps fulfill God's direction for Levites to live among the people they serve. Now moving on to 22nd chapter, the eastern tribes altar. So the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh on the eastern side of River Jordan, who settled there. They build a large altar as a witness to their connection with the other tribes. The western tribes misunderstand this particular act and think they are rebelling against God, nearly sparkling a civil war. But after hearing the eastern tribes' explanation, they are relieved. The altar is meant as a symbol of unity, not rebellion. In the 23 to 24, we see there Joshua's farewell and the covenant renewal. So here comes, I would say, the most important part of Joshua's journey in the book of Joshua. He being very old now, he gathers all the people of Israel for his final speech. He reminds, just like Moses did, he reminds them of God's faithfulness and warns them against idolatry, urging them to stay true to God. In one of the most famous lines, he declares, "Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord." The people renew their commitment there, pledging to serve God alone. After this, Joshua dies at 110, ending his faithful leadership. So this Joshua, uh, this book of Joshua summarizes and gives us all the promises of the Lord since they moved out of the land of Egypt, and the journey, how it concluded, especially after the death of their beloved leader Moses, Joshua taking over, and even the rebellion started slowly coming up when Akan did that, and they got the surprise defeat. You see, God's faithfulness never stopped, but they continue to uh, bless them with the promised land because they receive because He is faithful.